Mr. Travis was preparing the kids for another day at Golden Charter Academy in Fresno, California. They're instilling the values of being golden in the students. In fact, they've turned golden into an acronym used for their morning recitations.
Give respect.
Give respect.
Obligation.
Obligation.
Love learning.
Love learning.
Dedication.
Dedication.
Elevate.
Elevate.
Never quit.
Never quit.
Be golden.
Be golden.
Be golden.
Be golden.
Be golden.
Be golden.
Easy.
Golden is also the last name of one of the founders.
I feel like if people follow these golden rules, not only will it allow them to be successful, but it will allow them to truly live a life in purpose, that's for sure.
Robert Golden also holds the title of school president and CEO. Oh, and he's a former Arizona Wildcat football safety who played several years for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I began to lose my passion for football, and I'm like, well, if this isn't what I'm supposed to do, what am I supposed to do? I had this epiphany that my life meant more than just being an athlete.
Of all the paths Robert Golden could have taken, why did he choose to start a school? Welcome to BYU Radio's Big Stories, telling the amazing and inspiring tales from the Big 12 and beyond. I'm your host, Cleon Wall. Our episode, Be Golden.
This was my childhood home that I grew up in right here.
Robert Golden grew up in southwest Fresno.
I helped my dad plant this tree that we're standing under right here.
Robert's old neighborhood is tough and challenging, not for the faint of heart.
One of the most underserved, underrepresented, rough areas in our whole Central Valley. This was one of the worst areas, certainly, when it came to, the alcohol and drug abuse rates, the crime rates.
But Robert managed to rise above it all.
I give a lot of credit to my mom and dad. They were able to steer us away from all of the trouble that surrounded us and kind of keep me on a straight and narrow path when it was easy for me to go left when I should have went right. My parents instilled in me to keep God first.
He just loved God.
Rolinda Golden's youngest son was already leading prayer meetings at their church by the age of 5.
Growing up, he would say, I'm going to play for the NFL, then I'm going to be a preacher.
So whether it's a relationship, whether it's football, whether it's whatever that I'm doing, I've always tried to find God in the situation.
Robert's foundational education in football began right outside of his front door.
We played football in the streets. We did everything right here on these streets. We were playing right here going this way, and I was running for a bomb. My brother Martell, Telly, he threw me a bomb, and I ran right into that mailbox right there. Ran right through it, sliced my whole face open, and I still got the scar till this day to prove it. Well, the thing that we used to do for fun was we used to walk up and down this street, and whenever a dog saw us, it just started chasing us. And that's how I got my NFL speed, due to me running full speed up and down this street growing up.
Well, Rob was in high school. After the game, all his teammates, they would go out and they say, Rob, come go with us. And Rob would be sitting on the bench talking about, nope, I'm waiting on my mama. And they would call him square. They say, oh, you square, you don't want to do nothing. Come on and celebrate with us. Rob say, nope, I'm waiting on my mama. And I pull up, he don't be mad. He'll just get in the car and say, we won, Mom. And he'll exhale and he say, we won. He say, on to the next one.
I mean, growing up here and making it to high school is a blessing. To make it to college, it's unheard of on this block in this neighborhood.
Robert did make it to college, playing football for the Arizona Wildcats along the way. He set the record for the longest interceptions returned for touchdowns in U of A history, with a 79-yarder against Andrew Luck and the Stanford Cardinal and a 91-yarder against the Washington Huskies. Luck went on to become the #1 overall pick in the 2012 NFL Draft, while Northern Illinois QB Chandler Harnish was the last pick. Throughout the draft's 3 days, Robert waited, but his name was never called.
Me and my husband, we were saying what he's going to do, because football is his life. He went in the back room, and me and his dad was in the living room, and I was crying. I said, but he worked so hard. What is he going to do? And Rob walked out of that room, and he said, don't worry about it, Mom. He said, God got it under control. And soon he finished, he got a phone call from the Pittsburgh Steelers saying that we want to fly you out and give you a chance. He's a man of tremendous faith.
Golden seized the opportunity, making the Steelers roster and signing a 3-year contract. In doing so, he proved his father wrong, sort of.
I used to always say, I'm going to make it to the NFL. And he's like, you're not making it to the NFL, and I'm like, no, I'm going pro. And he used to always try to do this like reverse psychology on me. And I remember when I made it to the NFL, I was like, I told you, Dad, I was going to make it. And he was just so proud.
After every game, he would call his dad because his dad was just he loved football. So he would always watch Rob, and he'll sit by his phone and just wait for Rob to call. So Rob would call and they just talked, they laughed. His dad gave him pointers and Rob said, man, I know what I'm doing. I made it to the NFL. So they were always joking.
After his rookie season, Robert returned to Fresno, where he met his future wife, Lechet.
It was really God who brought us together. We didn't meet at a club. We didn't meet through mutual friends or family. We met at a gas station just randomly one day. Years later, after we talked about this to his mom was like, he came home after the gas station and he said he found his wife.
The two eventually married in 2016, the same year Robert signed his 3rd contract with the Steelers. Life was truly golden for the golden boy from Fresno.
I had just got married. My wife was pregnant. We were expecting my first son, and we had just bought a house out in Scottsdale, Arizona.
One summer day, Robert was working out in the extreme heat, and his mobile phone stopped working. After it cooled down,
and I would turn my phone on, had a bunch of missed calls, and called my mom, like, what's going on? She didn't even answer the phone. She gave it to her sister, and my auntie told me that my dad passed away, and I'm like, what? I just saw him. Like, last week, he was just out here barbecuing with us.
It was kind of rough for Rob because he wasn't there for his dad. He wasn't there for me.
He's like, I'm gonna keep going. I can't sit around. I can't sit around and grieve and cry. I gotta keep going. And I believe it was a week later after the funeral, he went to training camp and got right back into it. We brought Mama Golden out there to Pittsburgh with us, and we all just held on to each other and encouraged each other and kept it going. I think Coach Dohlin was very supportive and really there for Robert. Welcomed him with open arms and love. They didn't treat him any different, but they loved on him like they do in the locker room. They really made him feel at home and loved.
Reality really set in where I realized that, man, things can change in an instant. So my perspective on life really started to change at that time.
Golden was Pittsburgh's starting safety for most of the 2016 season, but eventually lost his starting job to a rookie. After the 2017 campaign, he was released by the Steelers.
Coach Tom was like, hey, I'm sorry, we got to go in a different direction, all that stuff. And we were in our bedroom, and I just started crying. I just broke down crying. And he's like, Shay, it's okay. It's good. God got us. We're good. Why are you crying?
Less than a month later, Robert signed a contract with the Kansas City Chiefs.
It was very different. It was different than how he was in Pittsburgh. And I could tell that he was missing us as well. I feel like he was missing home. He was flying back home every weekend. So he would call Shay, this don't feel right. This don't feel right.
When I lost my dad, it was like I didn't have anything else to prove. My dad was my motivator. He was the person that really challenged me to go out there and not only give it my all, but to prove him wrong. So it was at that time where I sent Andy Reid, the head coach, a text message and asked him to release me from my contract. I was done playing football, and he asked me, was I all right? Or, what's going on? This is a Super Bowl team. And I'm just like, God got a bigger purpose on my life than just being an athlete. And after several weeks, they decided to release me and grant me my release.
Then I think he went to Dallas and Miami. And pretty soon he was just like, Shay, Football's not for me.
I find that very interesting on just how God works, because in order for you to get elevated, sometimes you got to get separated. So I was able to get separated from my comfort zone and get into a position where it was just me and God, where we had these conversations on a daily. And I did a lot of meditation just to try to figure out, you know, what my calling for this life was.
That's when Robert recalled a previous conversation he had with his mentor, C.J. Wheezy Jones.
I said, "Hey, Rob, what you doing?" He was like, "We got a big football game Sunday." He said, what's going on? I said, "I'm finna open up my school. I need you to be the CEO." And he was like, "Man, I ain't running on school. I got a game Sunday."
And at that time, I was like, dude, I'm an NFL player. I don't know nothing about education. Why would I even think about opening a school? When I retired and I was at home meditating, he was like, you know, it's time for you to open up that school that we talked about. I remember it was one day during my meditation, God said that if you want this school to happen, you got to do it. And he said it so loud and clear to me. And at that time, I was a big video game guy. I played Madden for almost 13 hours out of the day. And I remember when the Lord spoke that to my spirit, I stopped playing video games that day. And I never looked back, and I said, I'm going to do this school.
God spoke to him. God spoke to me. God equipped me to be that support system. And he was like, okay, so Weezy planted that seed. And Rob's like, Shay, I think I'm gonna work on my school. I think I'm gonna start a school. I think that's my purpose. Like, I think that's what I want to do. And I was like, all right, like, let's go.
It's funny because when you're growing up in a community like this, all you know is all you see. So what you see on TV is NFL, entertainment, or you look around the corners and you see your neighborhood drug dealers. And it's just like, how can we inspire these kids to dream bigger than just being an NFL player or NBA player? And that's my aim, that's my mission.
We lived in poverty. Like, we didn't have the nice shoes and the nice cars, our parents having the nice cars, the nice houses and stuff like that. Like, we didn't have the good education that some kids got across town. I feel like he really felt like he wanted to bring a private school education to the kids in his community so that they can get the proper needs, the proper necessities, the proper equipment to succeed in life.
We want them to understand that you got to conduct yourself in a golden manner, not just to be taken serious, but to be an example for others in this life that needs that structure that may not have it in their home setting. So it's a little bit of love and it's a little bit of structure. And when you pull it together, that's the whole golden experience that you get at Golden Charter Academy.
Golden Charter Academy is unique, it's special, and it's different. I am Liana Pellegrino, and I am our principal here at Golden Charter Academy. Here at GCA, we lead with science. The Fresno Chaffee Zoo is one of our founding partners. And what that founding partnership is essentially the zoo is another classroom for us.
It's a unique partnership, and it's one I think that furthers the mission both of Golden Charter and the zoo in really interesting ways. I'm John Forrest Dohlin. I am the CEO and the zoo director here. What Golden Charter Academy is doing is using the zoo as a living laboratory, a living classroom. Kids are here every single day of the week. And it is a way for them to connect, to nature, of course, but also to take this sort of intrinsic animal interest that so many kids have and leverage that into learning in so many ways around STEM and STEAM education. That works great for the zoo because, of course, our mission is to educate the next generation of conservation stewards, and that's got to start at the youngest age. So we're building relationships with these kids at a very early age and making sure that we leverage that into real conservation outcomes.
When you talk about what we're doing from an overall mission, we're looking to raise up environmental stewards.
We're trying to build out a really strong education program that hopefully we can replicate with other zoos and other aquariums across the world.
Here's somebody that wasn't brought up in the traditional way through educational leadership, but yet he's very successful at it, and he's innovative, and he's creative, and he's passionate, and he can move the needle.
Ed Gonzalez, the board chair for Golden Charter Academy, played a crucial role in helping Robert get the school off the ground.
I was so amazed at the culture he was creating with kids, and he just instinctively knew some things. I would even say to him, how did you come up with these ideas for school? I said, I never talked to you about, the golden rules and the branding. And he said, I thought about how school was for me, and I thought about what was missing from it. And I wanted to build a school filling that in. And I thought, oh my gosh, what an amazing way to turn the educational paradigm on its head. And instead of trying to build up kind of an institutionalized version of school, he thought, what was missing? I'm going to provide that in school. It's just genius. The impact on me has been, I've seen somebody that is so profoundly positive and believes in the manifestation of his idea and his vision so strongly that it's changed me.
Be golden!
Be golden.
When we talk about our slogan, Be Golden, it's a philosophy on how to live life.
What it means to be golden is just what it says, golden, excellent. We operate in excellency.
To be golden is to be the best, to give it your all.
Just thinking back on how far God has brought not only me, but my family. I just know my dad would be proud if he was here to see us today. So I'm just thankful. I have a lot of gratitude. The Bible tells us if we humble ourselves in due time, God will exalt you. And I feel like this is an opportunity for God to exalt the message and the mission of what we're doing here at Golden Charter Academy, not only for our scholars, but for this community. And this paradigm shift that I am looking to do for education is not only going to happen here in the city of Fresno, but God is going to open doors for us to do this around the world, and I can't wait to see it all come to fruition.
Be Golden was produced and written by Whitney Sheffield and Cleon Wall. Music and post-production by Kevin West. Make sure you watch BYUTV's Big Stories by logging on to BYUSN.com. Big Stories is a production of BYU Radio. Hey everyone, Cleon Wall here again. I'm inviting you to check out another BYU Radio podcast. It's called Deep Blue. It's where you get the true stories of BYU athletes and coaches from their own mouths. It's hosted by my colleague, Jason Shepard. Last season, they had great interviews on Deep Blue, including Cougar quarterback Gary Bohannon. He teared up quite a bit talking about his son and what it means for his boy to watch his dad play. Also, BYU swimmer Jordan Tiffany, who quit swimming due to mental health struggles. He talked about how he was able to get back in the pool again. More great conversations for season number 3. BYU running back Hinckley Rapati will talk about his tear-filled journey to BYU. Former BYU tight end Chad Lewis, he's going to reflect back on that special 1996 BYU football season. And BYU basketball players Richie Saunders and Fuseni Traore discuss their unique relationship. It started way before they got to BYU. Please subscribe and listen to Deep Blue with Jason Shepard wherever you get podcasts, or check it out on the BYU Radio app.